Hi everyone, it's Phil and I'm all on my own and I'm down the shed because I really wanted to get a video out this week for you all because it's almost Christmas. In fact, it's the 21st of December. It's the winter solstice. It's my 63rd birthday. So I'm in the shed chatting with you all. Caroline is having a lie down. She's been bad all week. As you know, we put out our premiere every Friday night. We edit it on a Thursday. It's now 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon and we've got nothing to do with regards to getting edited. And if we did, Caroline is too unwell to edit it. She's hoping to get her voice back for the live on tomorrow night, but today it's down to me. So I'm going to share with you some magical pieces that we've picked up at auction. Thank you everyone for all your feedback on the auction video we did a couple of weeks ago. And I think Teresa summed it up a little when she said, I love old things, I love seeing Phil in the shed, and I love the auction video. So here we go. It's Phil getting older in the shed with auction pieces. And I can start with the pieces directly behind me, because these candlesticks we picked up at auction. Now we didn't bid for them individually. As you'll know from when we were chatting to you, Caroline's favourite thing to do is bid for a box and then rummage through and find the bits and pieces that you can find. And there we found a pair of candlesticks. Now the one has had a bit of a ding, but we don't mind. We still think they're boots. And these candlesticks illustrate something that we've come across even during our mudlarking days, and that's when you'd find a piece of a candlestick and it had this in the bottom, and that is simply a plunger that can be pressed. And if I see, I did have a candle here somewhere but I can't see it at the moment, but I'll just show you with this nail. If I put the nail in and place it down there, and if you imagine that this is the candle that has burnt right the way down to the bottom so that you wasted nothing, you could slowly raise it up. So you get that very last inch of candle, because folks didn't like to waste in those days. So the very bottom of the candle got burnt, then it was completely empty, press the new candle in and away to go. So a lovely bit of social history there in the candlesticks. Now, the last time that I was with you, I showed you some boxes, and I will show you two very neat and very lovely boxes before we finish. But another thing we come across are, beyond boxes, items for display. And this one is purely a display that's already been made. It's not just a display frame, but as you can see here, they've already set it up and put what they wanted inside there. Now I'm working on the GoPro today, and I've been told by Caroline it's not very good on focus close up, so please excuse me if anything goes wrong, because this is as it is. All the bloopers will be in the show. No edit, one run, load it up and set it to go. So this is from the Gloucestershire Constabulary, and obviously made, I think, as a presentation piece to a retiring officer in that constabulary. It has the main badge here, which I believe would have probably been a cat badge, and then there are buttons from the uniform, and there are lapel badges, etc. But a beautiful piece, and demonstrating a particular time and place because of the link to the area, as well as being police memorabilia. So that was a nice find that we picked up in a box. But then we've got another item, and this time it is a display item, but there's no contents in it. But I know exactly what it was meant to display, because here we have a display cabinet that would have been in a shop, because you can see up there the name of the company, you can see down here the name of the product and what it did, because it states New Way, hear the difference. styli replacements. So this is from the days of record players, hi-fis, when you went and bought the stylus or the needle as they used to refer to it sometimes as, and replaced it in your record player. And that is a bit of social and retail history from those times, which we thought was really neat. And we were very pleased when we got that. But sometimes we get social history. We get items that are very personalized. Obviously, with the cat badge, it was a belonging to an individual at some time, but it's not solely linked to them. But this bit of social history was directly linked to one individual. Now then, I'm going to read this for you because I'm sure it's not going to pick up on there, and I've wiped enough dirt off it to be able to see it. You can tell from the back it's got a bit of age. I can tell you how much age. This is 94. Yeah, 94 years old. 1927 is the date on here. And it states, if I get my glasses, which I hope I've got with me, because if I haven't, then I'll just have to squint. Okay, here we go, folks. Arm's length. Sir, on the occasion of your retirement from the post office, I desire to express to you my appreciation of the faithful service you have rendered to the state during a period of more than 34 years. Yours very truly, and it is signed by the Postmaster General. Well, I don't know if the Postmaster General is sending out certificates to people who retire from the post office these days, but in 1927, 34 years service, it warranted a certificate, and obviously the person receiving it treasured it, but are no longer with us. But it's still got that sense of a link with history. It shows us another time and another place. Now then, what else have I got here that I can show you today? Oh, here we go. Here's an item that is a real blast from the past. We come up with these relatively often in auctions these days. This is a particularly pretty box. That's why I chose this one out of the several dozen that I've got up there on the shelf. We buy these by the box load. Sometimes there may be something in there and people know it's a bit special, and they'll go up into the 10s and the 20s and the 40s, 50s. But there are other times you can pick up a box full for £2, £3 or £4, because what we've got here are the rolls that used to go in to the self-playing pianos, and these were the jukebox 100 years ago. And this particular one, if I can read it, says live, laugh and love. So there we go, there's a nice title, folks. Live, laugh and love. But that's a really brightly coloured box, and there you've got the name of the company on the top. But these do turn up, and people have come up with all manner of uses for them. I know there are those who use them in craft, there are those who collect them, there are those who have the actual self-playing pianos and then collect these in order to be able to make it play. But that's another lovely piece from our collection of bits and pieces. Because as we've said, the one thing you can be sure of when you look into an auction is in 700 to 1,000 lots, you're going to find surprises. You're going to see things you didn't expect to be there. But more than that, when you buy a box full of stuff, if you haven't been able to visit the auction, as since COVID, we've stopped visiting auctions and we buy online and then collect. There's an even bigger surprise when you get your boxes, because all you can see in the box of bits is the stuff on the top. So if there's something on the top that catches Caroline's eye, she'll think, well, that's worth at least a £5, so I'll go a £5 for the box. Oh, she's a canny girl. You've got to give it to my wife. She don't believe in throwing her money around. Oh no, because at the end of the day, folks, however wealthy you may be or whatever money we may have, it always goes a bit further if you're careful. And as my granny always told me, you look after the pennies, Phil, and the pounds will look after themselves. So it's fun. That's the element for us. It was at one time our bread and butter. Caroline was working hard and she was earning 5 figures on turning out the items on eBay, doing reselling. Now it's more at a level of sort of in spare time rather than full time. But we still do it because we enjoy it. We can't walk through a town without walking into the charity shops or thrift stores, as they call them in some parts of the world, to have a look if there was a bargain. In fact, I picked up a bargain even today, and I'll share that with you at the end. A super 75p bargain from a Salvation Army thrift store today, and I'll share that with you at the end. But another thing that we come up with are works of art. We haven't found a Picasso or a Rembrandt yet, and I dare say we probably won't. But it would be nice, and it does happen. There was one in the news just a week or so ago where somebody found they had something worth millions that had just been hanging there forever and a day and they didn't know its value. It can happen. It's unlikely to happen in an auction because it will have got past the auctioneer before it gets to us. So it's more likely he'll find it. But you still get works of art. Here's a little work of art. There we go. That's a lovely piece, isn't it? And these are the sorts of things you can pick up singly, but more often than not in a box. Now, another thing we've picked up, as well as painted pieces of art, we get those occasionally, but very often they'll come in a collection of ephemera and bits and pieces. And we have had a lot of photographs. And I've just brought down a sample from a batch we had at a recent auction. And I like these. They're black and white, and they all came from the Rhondda Photographic Club. And here's a boot. They are just for Adam. There we go, Adam. There's a chunk of train for you, my boy. And that is simply called Wheels. And it was photographed by Frida Gibbs in the Rhondda Camera Club. Now, there's no date on the rear of here. The information is there. But look at that for a timeless and beautiful picture. I love it. But there again, as you all know, if you followed me from the days on the river when we were mudlarking, I love my scrap. And if I was to show you around the shed here, you'd realise I love my junk. And I love that. I think the texture on there is absolutely brilliant. But also, this artist, and I believe all of these were taken by the same person. This is all artwork by someone called Frida Gibbs. Obviously, their artwork, as they've probably passed away or gone into a nursing home, and their family have had the house cleared, and these things have not gone on to anyone else. But there we have what I love. These are photographs of people that Frida knew and photographed. That one there. Now here's a character who is really set in his place. And this one has a title. And they've called this Man of Iron. And I think you can see why. Man of Iron. Excellent. And I love the furrowed brow. I love the look on his face. There's a smile in his eyes, but he also looks like a man who's done a day's work too. And then this kind of gives away a time era, I think, because I'd say 1960s. What do you think? Yeah. And this was taken by Bill Gibbs. Now I'm going to make a rash guess and assume that Bill Gibbs was possibly married to Frida Gibbs. They're either brother and sister or they're husband and wife, but that's a picture he took. And I would say the outfit that the person's wearing kind of says perhaps the 60s. And this picture, I think, confirms that. It may be black and white, folks, but I've got to be honest, I'm pretty confident that you can all sense the colours in that fabric. Yeah, that's very much the sort of thing you might have seen a young lady wearing when the Beatles were first on the scene. So that's another picture. Love the way they just capture a time and a place, a moment. That's the magic of a camera. It just snaps that moment and holds it. And these days, perhaps with our phones in our pockets and our YouTube cameras and all the rest, perhaps we don't quite value photos as we once did. But when I look at black and white photographs of this era, I just love it. Look at this gentleman. You can see there, he's holding his walking stick in his hand. You see the top of the walking stick. He's obviously out for a stroll. He's wearing his tweeds and his hat, and he's got that nice smile on his face. A man who seems content with his world. Whoops. And there we go. It says on the back, our park attendant. So there we go. We also know this gentleman was happy in what he did, it seems. He was their park attendant. So that's another lovely picture. Now, it wasn't just people, because here you won't find one of these wandering around Wales, I assure you. Don't panic. I don't think this was taken in the Rhondda. Actually, it was taken by Frida Gibbs, and this was taken in 1986. So we're coming on a little in time, and by now they were in the Cardiff Camera Club. So this was taken while Frida was at the Cardiff Camera Club, and the title for that is Sleepy Lion. Sleepy Lion. There we go. And then there are pictures that give atmosphere that don't include people or animals, but simply places. There's one there. And that's taken at an abbey. And then this one, a little bit like those wheels I showed earlier, this is showing the shadows, the lines and the texture by simply taking a photograph of the roofs and the chimneys. And that is a beautiful work of art in itself as well. Then we have one here showing some water. Looks almost like a lake there, doesn't it? That one looks like a lake. And this one, well, this is something we're quite familiar with, because here we have a river cascading down, which is something that we've spent a lot of time in over the years, in those rivers around the valleys here. And the last of the pictures, this one is called Streetlights, and this was taken by Bill. And there we have it, a picture of a valley village at night, just allowing the light into the camera. And on the back he gives details. This was taken in 1969, and then I believe the details he's putting up, the camera aperture, the lens used, etc., in order to capture that image of a typical Welsh valley at night when all the lights are on in the streets. Isn't that lovely? And as I say, each one tells a story. And the thing with auctions is there's something for everyone. I'm showing you the things we've bought. I'm showing you the things that I like. But if you decide to visit an auction or go online and have a look, you're pretty much sure to find something you like in amongst all the bits and pieces. And I've got a cracking album down here. We talk about photographs, folks. If that's not your scene, maybe this would be. Look at that. That is the Rolls-Royce logo. And the reason the Rolls-Royce Rolls-Royce logo, I can't even speak straight now, is on the front of this is because it was specially commissioned for a particular firm who had their company car built and kitted out at Rolls-Royce. And along the process, every step of the way, they photographed the journey that the car took from the assembly line, the spray room, to the car itself. And this tells the entire story of one particular car, and there it is outside the showroom, ready for delivery. Now that is a unique piece of history, something I'm sure that took pride of place when presented to the company, and now who knows, maybe that company no longer in existence, but the album is. And for anyone who has a love of Rolls-Royce motor cars, that is certainly something I think they would treasure. So variety, they say, is the spice of life. And there is no short of spice when it comes to going to an auction. Now, I did promise you before we finished, I'd show you my boxes for today and that 75p fantastic find that I picked up just a few hours ago when I nipped out to the shops and couldn't pass by the charity shop on the way. Here we go. Here's the first of the boxes, because they've got a box in the box today, so I'll take the one out a moment, because this box has a purpose. You know, you can multi-purpose any box, including this one. You can use it for whatever you like. But as you'll see in the top there, it's got clear instructions with regards to its contents, and its contents are all with regards to providing first aid. As it states here, first aid. There's also a bit of a sticker there, Swansea GWR. Now, buyer beware, you've got to watch these stickers. Sometimes less than scrupulous people will print these little bits of paper off, put them onto an item, and hope they add intrigue and value when selling. I'm not saying that's what's happened here. I'm simply saying it could be the case. It may be the case. It doesn't matter. I got a box of boxes, and this would have came out at about £2, and £2 for a first aid box from around about the 1950s. I'm happy with that. Another box that came with it was this little gem. You know, I've got big boxes and small boxes, and if I just lift the tag there, I can open this one up, and that's a neat little box for keeping cufflinks, trinkets, bits and pieces, loose change, whatever you want in there, and still a lovely close on that. Sometimes boxes smile at you. It's just over the years they'll warp and they rise on the ends, and you end up with a bit of a smile where that nice tight closed piece should be. But this one closes nice and neatly. Well, so far so good. I haven't made too many mistakes. Don't know what the lighting's like because the door's blown shut because we're in the middle of a gale here as I sit down the shed. There's a tree outside. I don't know if it picks up. I've had to put a note in the neighbour's door because it looks like it's coming down. 3/4 of it have fallen into their garden, and the bit that's left looks like it's heading for the shed. So I've been sat here wondering if I would catch on camera having my shed demolished while I was sat in it. But so far, so good. If you have enjoyed the video, then drop us a comment and let us know. But of course, before you go anywhere, I'm going to show you that 75p, what I think was a fantastic find. And there we are. There's the price tag to prove it. This came to the grand total of 75 pence. And here we have a beautiful item because it's made of like a fired clay, almost a terracotta, and as you can tell by its shape and the pattern in the bottom there, this is a tray for making shortbread. Now, how nice is that to be able to make homemade shortbread, press it into here, and what a lovely treat in a week or so's time when we're celebrating the new year, because I'm sure that'll be gorgeous. Even down to the little hearts here at the end, the detail, the effort that's been made, and that, folks, is brand new and cost 75p. So there's bargains out there to be found. There's treasure. Just like in the dump. When we used to go on the dump, you had to look through a lot of dirt before you found something precious. It took me nearly 3 years before I found a cod bottle that wasn't broken. But the joy can be in the search as much as in the finding. Caroline always says the anticipation of the holiday is in many ways the bigger part, because we anticipate that joy, we look forward to that event for so long, and when it comes, it's over in a week. So enjoy where you are at the moment, and if you get the chance, even if you, like ourselves, you can't go climbing over tips anymore or rummaging in rivers, perhaps you can nip into your local thrift store, and if you buy nothing, just enjoy the stroll around, have a look what's there, and who knows, you just might find a bargain. Well, I'm hoping Caroline will be on the live show. If not, I'll be there to see you so that we can all celebrate together one more time before Christmas is on us. But for now, I'd better make my way out. So I'll just say goodbye, take care, and most importantly, have fun. Bye.